All right. Well, let's just talk marketing then. Let's talk about what's the biggest barrier of entry to agents now? What's the marketing entry? Someone brand new outside of being in a multi-level organization who's kind of hands-on, go on your appointments with you. How did they do it?
That's the question of the millennium, right? Like, I think it really depends on their background and their level of knowledge. I find that the more educated the agent or the advisor, the easier it is to support them with marketing because they're comfortable talking about a wide variety of topics. They understand how the market works. They understand how an insurance product works. If they're brand new off the street, they just came out of college or they were working somewhere else and they decided, hey, I'm going to go be a life insurance agent, it becomes very narrow because the complication of the products themselves and the complicatedness of the markets and all these different choices people have, it's not in their back pocket. It's not top of mind. It's not something they can free flow about. So, they're sort of limited to in product scope, which means they're limited in application of what they're able to do to solve problems. So, number one, it's the level of education, I think, determines, how much marketing can they do and how can they market. The next part of it that we tend to find all the time is, well, then what is marketing, right? Is it getting on TikTok? Is it sending out email blasts? Is it, mailers and flyers and all the different things that you can do? And that's always the problem to solve because marketing costs money. And if you're just starting out, you don't have any money. So it's this conundrum for us, right? We've been trying to crack that egg for years. How do we bring new blood into this industry? How do we, rapidly educate somebody so they can deepen the pool that they can dive into?
Are most agents coming from another industry still, or are these people? I was shocked when I was talking to Mitch McKay because I usually like to say, well, no one, wakes up when they're 5 and says, I want to be an insurance agent. He was like, yeah, actually I did.
I saw that.
The fuck, dude? You blew my line. A, and B, tell me more.
Right.
So I don't know. Is that the majority of people? Are there some coming out of college going, look at all these insurance and financial guys making bang. I don't need to try to be a doctor or go back to school. I'll just go right into that field. Or is it mostly people in other fields?
I think there's a lot of turnover in this industry. So I think a fair amount of people who come to us are completely new into the industry or maybe 2 or 3 years in, which is pretty seasoned. I think my biggest challenge when it comes to marketing is do I market to the person who's new and needs clients and needs leads and needs this and that? That's easy marketing to do. It's sexy marketing to do for a lot of people. Or do we go advanced level concepts and try to get the good people, but it's a much harder to do.
Yeah, and I think it's starts on where the whole idea originated, right? If you come out of college and you've got a degree in finance or something related to financial services, they tend to go to the broker-dealer side, or the wirehouse. They're going to go work for a brand, right? And it's attractive to go work for a brand. You get a base salary. Sometimes you get a stipend. And then they learn the power of the products that we sell on a regular basis, and they just sort of merge into that. They expand their portfolio and they find a broker's alliance or another type of company to work with and help them understand how to implement those products in their practice. Then there's the other side of it where they've just a family member's in the business and that's how they learn about it, and the family member's doing well and they're like, well, my job's not paying me the same. I'd like to get in the same gig. And the total flip side is you mentioned multi-level marketing, and I think the benefit of multi-level marketing is they are bringing a tremendous amount of individuals into the industry and giving them an experience of what the industry can do, what are the products built for, what's it intended to do for your customer. And then they discover that they're either good at it or they're not. And when they discover they're good at it, and good at it means marketing, talking to people, being confident, selling, then they want more and they want to build their own agency, and they go looking for another brokerage or a way to sort of expand their own personal business. And we capture a lot of that. These are individuals that have been 1-2 years in the business, and they want to know what more is out there for them without the layers above them, and they find a company like Brokers Alliance.
This episode of Casita Conversations is brought to you by Tropics Collective. Tropics uses only the highest quality Delta-9 and THC ingredients to bring you the very best of what cannabis has to offer. It's Farm Bill compliant, which means it's legal in all 50 states for everyone. Give it a try today. And if you use our promo code, you'll save 15% on your entire first order. Go to tropicscollective.com and use the promo code Casita to get your discount today. Tropics Collective is defining the art of cannabis.
And you mentioned the advanced marketing. You work a ton of those cases. So what separates that agent? I feel like every agent would come to you saying, I want to be in that market space. What does it take? Are they more educated, or are they just better at making a relationship connection and a referral? Or is it both?
It's a little bit of both. I think again, if they're super educated and they're devoted to education, they go after the advanced market because it's the next echelon of their career. It's where they know that that's the path they're on. I want to start working more complicated deals. I want to get into more affluent clients and business owners. The rest of them are really great at, connecting with people. And they have people that they've connected with. Maybe they've sold them an insurance policy somewhere along the way, but they don't really have the appetite to go into advanced markets. And that's actually the belly of the whale for us is insurance professionals that are saying, look, I'm not an expert in this thing, but I have all these customers. Many of them are affluent or own businesses. Who can I partner with to help me bring that value to them so that I don't have to be the expert myself? And that's the benefit of what we call the MDRT model, right? That you share the client, you bring experts in where appropriate, and you do joint work together. That's the most prevalent in the business right now because, quite frankly, you can count on two hands the number of real experts in insurance advanced planning in our industry. And so it's just such a commitment, I think, for many advisors and insurance professionals out there. It's something they just don't want to tackle. They'd rather find somebody that knows how to do it.
So you don't have to be the expert. You just have to have the client and be willing to share. That was hard for me always because I was always coming from this famine mindset of like, if I open my book up to you and I bring a client, all of a sudden they're going to want to be Eric Palmer's client because he knows way more about this stuff than I do. How do you get them over that hump?
Number one is I say, you're the cheerleader, you're the champion. I work for you, right? So when you introduce your partners, your experts, they're the nerds in your back office. I always tell them like this, introduce us like we don't tell a brand, don't make it about a brand. I'm the nerd in the back office that when you have a client that's reached this level of success, you bring in another level of experts. Your general practitioner doctor doesn't feel nervous when he has to refer you to a bone doctor because you got your femur's sticking out, right? They know that you're still going to go back to your general practitioner for your general practice needs. And financial services is very much the same way. So it's all about the introduction. Make sure they frame it to the customer like this is a team. You get me, which means you get my team. And they're going to help me tackle the tax law or the estate tax law or the more complicated dealings that you may be facing in your business or your personal estate.
So we can wet their whistle. What's the biggest case you've worked on in the last 2 years or so? Target premium.
Target 1.6 million.
Just in case anyone wants to get into this part
works
of
with
the
athletes.
business.
Yeah. Any college kids out there listening to this podcast? Yeah, $1.6 million. It's lucrative to do this stuff, but it takes a tremendous amount of work to do it.
On your part, right? Though, like that's what we're saying is just bring the client.
Bring the client. We'll do the work. There's enough revenue to share and go around that everybody wants more and wants to keep doing it. And the revenue is a big part of it. I tell agents and advisors, if you bring us in and we're going on the app and you somehow have a problem sharing the revenue, then you don't need us. Go get the deal on your own. But the likeliness of you getting the 5 to 10x revenue that we'll get because we're doing a massive amount of planning for a customer is slim to none. So you can go get X, or you can be patient, work with a team, and you can get a very large Y. And some choose it, some don't, and the ones that don't always end up coming back anyway because as we market, we tell stories of success. They go, God, I passed up that opportunity, and so we give them a second chance, but not a third.
Yeah, none of the people we talk to are experts in premium finance. It's like we're the experts in premium finance. They have an interest in holistic financial planning in some capacity. Sometimes they're from like a tax background. Sometimes they're from a broker dealer or an RIA, but they have interest and they have clients, but they don't necessarily have the expertise, and that's where we really come in.
Yeah, or they think that premium finance is a sales idea. It's a concept. It's not. It's a means to pay for an insurance policy. The sales concept is why the person needs the insurance policy. And so I think there's a tremendous amount of marketing oriented around advanced ideas packaged in such a way like that advanced idea is a product. and it's not. And that's where the industry fails, and that's where the clients, don't end up with what they should have, because, everybody's out there trying to sell a product to make the most money. These are means and tools to bring home the ultimate solution for somebody once you've identified what the problems are. And there's a multitude of solutions, by the way. If you're talking to an advanced client, right, by definition affluent, $5 million net worth higher, or a business owner with $1 million of EBITDA or more a year, it's not a one policy solution. There's 8, 9 risks and liabilities. There's tax mitigation strategy. There's estate planning, personal, financial. It all blends together. There's multiple policies. There's disability insurance. A lot of times our advisors or our agents aren't even licensed to provide all those solutions. And so it's not a one product thing. It's not a trick or a snappy, shiny thing to get somebody to say yes. It's real planning. And when an agent or a financial advisor sees that that's what we're bringing to the table, I think they really get excited about it, because they'll stand out amongst the crowd. They're still competing too. Edward Jones and Merrill Lynch and the insurance guy are all competing for the same business owner. And that business owner's getting nailed with how many versions of stories and ideas and thoughts and tricks and trades that they can do. It's overwhelming, so they shut down, right? If you approach it with, hey, look, we have to figure out what your problems are. I don't have a bag of tricks to show you. I don't have a fancy one-pager. Let's look at your tax returns, your P&Ls, your financial statements, and find out if there's problems. Then I'll talk about what solutions could be for you. It's reverse in how a lot of professionals approach their clients. And I think that's what makes us different.
Yeah, they have a lead pony, and they're trying to slam everybody into that race.
Absolutely.
What about the marketing? Your hands are in all kinds of marketing, direct email blasting, email marketing, all forms of social media. What's working right now? And have you seen it change over the last couple of years?
The stuff that's working right now is the stuff that has always worked, which I am shocked to see, because I do the TikTok stuff, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all of those things, but our average consumer is in their 50s. Where do people who are 50-year-old hang out? They hang out on Facebook. Now, that Facebook is not new to us. I mean, it's relatively new if you compare it to mail, but mailers also work. The old traditional stuff also works. I do a lot of research on how to monetize TikToks, because I just have a lot of people who are following me. Everybody, no matter what their age is saying you need to get people onto your email list. And the reason why they're saying that is because the algorithm could change and they could no longer show any of your content to the people that you want to sell to. But your email algorithm will never change. Your emails will always go to people. So it's interesting. I wanted to, when I started working in this marketing position, I wanted to change things up. I'm like, maybe we should go to TikTok. Maybe we should do more Instagram. Maybe we should do less email. But the tired and true is still tired and true. And so if you're in our business and you want to target people and get clients, you still have to do Facebook and you still have to do email.
I think it's the diversification. You have to do all of it. And in COVID, it's interesting what it did. It brought back mailing tenfold. We actually started checking our mailboxes daily because we were at home, right? It used to be you check your mailbox, it's so full, you throw half the stuff away because you're like, I don't have time to go through this crap, right? Well, now people are going through the crap. So mail has this reemergence. But, I don't go on Facebook outside of posting pictures of the kids just so my aunts and uncles who live on Facebook can see the pictures of the kids. I don't look at it at all. I'm hanging out on Instagram, right? Or I'm checking my one Gmail box that I care about. The rest of them are my spam boxes. Well, that's Eric Palmer. And if we go around the room and there's 50 people in the room, we're going to get 14 different ways people like to consume their information. So you have to diversify. We do it to talk to professionals. Professionals have to do that to talk to customers, because you don't know where they're hanging out anymore. There's a lot of choice.
So it's like, at the end of the day, you're saying that you still got to have the actual contact method. So the funnel maybe got wider with social media. Now you have to do Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. But at the end of that funnel is still the hard knocks contact info. Give me your email, give me your phone, give me your mailing address, because that's how we're eventually going to connect together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And pound the pavement.
Yeah.
I think the lost art of knocking on doors is starting to come back, and we encourage people all the time. Look, I did it just the other day. We took some clients out for drinks. We were at Ocean 44. We were having a nightcap or three after, and we first walked in and there was a guy sitting at a bar and there was 2 seats next to him. There's 3 of us and he saw us looking around. There was nowhere else to sit. He waves over and he's like, I'll take these. I'll go sit over here. And we're like, hey, that was really great. I asked him, hey, what do you do? Out of nowhere. I didn't have to say that. I could have just thanked him for the seat, bought a drink, or of course I bought him a shot for giving us the seats. But I said, what do you do? He owns a large trucking company that transports concrete. That's a major business right now. I said, hey, you got contact information? And what he did, he goes, are you on Instagram? I said, I am. He goes, boom, boom, we're friends. Now I've got an opportunity to talk to somebody. That was in person. That wasn't a mailer. That was a guy gave me a seat at a bar, and I took the extra effort and ambition to say, hey, what do you do, right? Courage. To do things like that, I think it takes courage. But here in such a simple way, for free, I have a person to talk to potentially to see if there's a way our businesses could do business.
Yeah, and talk about a warm lead.
Yeah.
We track a lot of our leads really extensively at Brokers Alliance, and I did a survey the other day with people, and I was trying to figure out, I'm like, where do your best leads come from? A lot of people still said cold calling. So you just can't get around some of the basics, I think.
I think it's the message, right? I mean, what are you calling about? What are you emailing or posting or all these things? Because
how confident are you when you're doing it?
Yeah. Do you know what you're talking about? And is it something that's controversial? Because I think as a society, we'd rather slow down to a car accident than to a beautiful bouquet of flowers. So controversy is sticky. So are you controversial? Are you challenging status quo? Or are you just really intelligent and saying things a different or more articulate way that other people competing for that same customer are not saying? And are you innovative in the way you do it? Are you funny? Are you interesting? You have to be different today. And that's harder and harder to do because everybody's online, everybody's marketing. The competition is vast. But if you can stand out to any degree and have something interesting to say, then whatever medium that customer's on and they capture that's going to increase your probability of an opportunity. It's not just putting out some flyer for mortgage protection. You'll catch a small percentage of the audience, but you've just alienated millions of people who don't care about mortgage protection, but they might want a tax-free retirement, right? So be diverse, be interesting, be different, and be vast in the application of the message.
I wonder if culture is changing that. Are we breeding a generation of kids and some adults that would prefer not to talk to people face to face, would not choose to make that introduction at the restaurant and ask for what they do because they can go back and hide behind their phone and tweet out a bunch of garbage or be big bad, on behind social media because they don't have to engage with people anymore.
I defer to our millennial for that one. I'm old school.
I'm really interested in what people who are younger than me are doing, especially. And so Gen Z was very different than millennials. I think they just are more tech savvy than us because they've always had tech, but Gen Alpha is going to be even more different. So one of the things that's going to be interesting, and these are basically your kids, they are going to resent the amount of times that you guys put cameras in their faces, and they are going to be more private. And I don't know if you saw, but Apple is releasing a new VR headset. So what they're predicting is going to be the trend for Gen Alpha is they have a social media platform where it's nobody's real face. It's all avatars, and people are popular based on how popular their avatar is. So it's going to be fundamentally different for this generation, the way that they get attention and the way that we do marketing to them. It's going to be a lot more private.
It's interesting you say that avatar. What is face-to-face? Face-to-face is an instant reaction and attitude and creation of emotion and conversation and connectivity. So whether I'm staring at Charles with a black hat on and his beautifully manicured beard, or I'm staring at a avatar version of him, the experience is going to be the same because I'm getting an interaction that's live. And so perhaps it'll be delivered in a different way, but maybe it won't totally go away to your question or your thought is it'll just be in a different element that they're getting that face-to-face connectivity. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I look at my 4-year-old standing in front of the mirror, filming himself, watching himself in the mirror make faces. And so I'm like, he might be the anomaly. That kid's going to want to be face-to-face all the time. Right. He's all about the camera. But, I think it remains to be seen. That's a big population.
I think it just comes down to, if you want to oversimplify it a little bit, it just comes down to where is the attention and what value are you bringing to court that attention? That's what it really comes down to. I think when TikTok first came out, one of our agents got really popular doing TikTok, and people were kind of scoffing at him at first, but really, there are 330 million people on TikTok. That was a perfect place to do marketing. And even before that, it was growing at an astronomical pace. So I think when people are thinking about where to put their marketing, you really just have to think about who exactly you're marketing to and where they're hanging out, like Eric said.
Well, I'd work with both of you if I was an insurance agent and an investment advisor. So cheers. Thank you for this.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to go work on my avatar.
Acrylic Financial Incorporated is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by those on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Acrylic Financial. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance, and some guests may have been paid a fee to be interviewed for this show.